Hey guys, Mike the Vike here, back for another Rust update video. This week we've got some more improvements in the trading department, so let's take a look. I went ahead and built another trading outpost this week because I think it's fun to build them. Just kind of gives you an idea of what maybe someone really stupid would actually build. The thing that they added this week is the metal shop front. It's relatively cheap, only 300 metal fragments and 30 seconds to craft, which isn't bad at all. What this allows is basically a safe way to conduct trades. Okay, so here's an example of the trading situation. Basically, you will press E on this side. There will be somebody else on the other side, of course. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the 556. And then he will put in his side of the deal, and then once we're both happy, we can click accept. So I've accepted, he accepted, and then I instantly got the 10 rounds. It's pretty instant. As soon as we both click accept, it's like boom, sent over. And apparently they tried like exploiting this, seeing if you can drag out items really quickly before the trade completes. Apparently this is not the case, so it's a pretty safe thing to do. So I think this is pretty straightforward. It's just a safe way to trade with another player instead of kind of like the Craigslist method before, where you both met up at a location and then you drop it on the floor, but like you could either if you could shoot each other, and it kind of was pretty damn sketchy. This is pretty safe. Now the only issue is, of course, if somebody else knows what's going on, they could camp the area outside or something like that, which is kind of an issue with this system. But it's still, nevertheless, a lot safer than before. They also made some changes to the vending machine, which I thought I would show off. Firstly, the vending machines now have like a digital screen on the front, and it's interactive. So it will show what is for sale on that vending machine and how much it costs on the top, which I think is very, very cool. Like, that's super nice, super clean. I just have a few example trades here just for fun. That's not really all that different. The major change is on the back of the vending machines. Last week you were able to put a code lock on the back of these, therefore kind of making this a pretty secure safe, I guess, instead of like a wood storage box, which just is a couple hatchet hits. You know, this takes one C4 to destroy. Anyway, now they made it so you can't put a code lock on it, so basically if somebody gets into this room, you're pretty much done for, because they'll be able to get into all of these safes, which would kind of suck. So you're definitely going to have to lock down your back rooms, make sure nobody gets in here. Probably a change for the better, I guess, because you probably shouldn't have your vending machines as like your loot rooms. Like, that doesn't really make sense. With that said, I'm not opposed to like them adding safes. I think they should. Maybe something with more capacity, because with all the different components and stuff these days, this many slots just isn't enough. Another thing they changed with the vending machines is last week you were able to place these machines anywhere on the map, like just in the middle of nowhere. This is no longer the case. They have to be placed either on the foundations or in the doorways like I had inside. The next thing they changed is they have added the fridge into the game. Currently there isn't too much reason to having this. The way this works is you're able to store any kind of food into the machine. However, it does not accept any other items like whatever the heck, ammo. It only takes items in the food category. Now, once again, there isn't too much reason to have this because they don't really spoil once you've cooked them. So there isn't much point to this unless things start getting spoiled and stuff like that. But honestly, I really hope they don't add that mechanic, because that just makes the game a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I think a lot of people appreciated Rust for its simplicity. So if they start adding like, you know, things getting like old and you have to like throw stuff out, like that just gets it really complicated. I think that the way they should do it is maybe just make it so that food that you put in the fridge stacks to higher than if it were in a regular box. This was my idea in the past with armor, so you could have like an armory or something, and you can only put clothing in there, but the clothing stacks to like 5 or 10 instead of just individual in a regular box. They could do the same thing with the fridge. One thing to note is the fridge only costs 75 metal fragments, so this thing isn't exactly expensive. So honestly, for the price, I still think it's kind of cute. It looks nice, it adds some variety to your base, so it's kind of like a why not right now. You can put a code lock on it also. The next thing they did is a couple different nerfs and buffs. The semi-auto rifle got a 15% damage buff. This is nice to see because AKs kind of dominated long range, and there wasn't really a cheap way to compete. So hopefully this thing will be better now. They also nerfed the semi-auto pistol. It now has even more recoil. It also has a lot more recoil and inaccuracy when moving around. But it's still very effective at close range, at least with my very brief tests. You can see, I'm shooting somebody at that wall, they're still going down. I think the main issue here is that you're able to spam click it, and you can get such a crazy rate of fire. Anyways, definitely a good change. I mean, this thing, everybody still roams with this thing, but it's a little bit less universal now, which is good. They also went ahead and buffed the Python. This thing has an 18% damage increase, as well as definitely a big buff in the rate of fire. Still only 6 rounds, of course, so that's definitely going to limit you. It's hard to say if this thing is good or not, but time will tell once again. They also made it less expensive, now only requiring 10 high qual, a spring, and 3 pipes. That's definitely a lot cheaper, so that's good. They've also added in a ton of world models for the various components. Now, for some reason, they even did like the bleach and the duct tape and this stuff like that, which aren't even usable in the game. You can just spawn them in as an admin, which I've always wondered, like, yeah, they have it, but how come nothing uses it yet? The funny thing about them is the scale is ridiculous. Like, the metal pipe, I would not imagine is this big. They obviously made this so that it's easier to pick up, which is cool, I guess. It's more practical, but it definitely looks a little bit funny. The last thing they changed is they added bullet decals for glass. Now there's like the nice like glass impact thing, which definitely looks cool. And that's it for content in the game, but let's take a look at what is soon to come. The first thing is they kind of added this door closer to the game. Now this doesn't spawn or anything, it's just in the F1 menu. Now the way this works currently is pretty straightforward. Once again, this isn't really official, I have a feeling it's going to change, but you just click it onto a door that you've already placed, and now that door should automatically close after a few seconds. Now this apparently is not the final intent. I think they want to make it so that at like a trading outpost like the one I have here, the doors can open one way and then they'll automatically close. Kind of like a fire exit, if you can think of that in real life. Anyway, this isn't implemented yet, just thought I'd show you. The next thing we got is, it looks like Gary is making some pretty good progress on the new AI system. Currently on the pre-release branch, he's added some placeholder zombies just to test out the routing of the zombies and the AI system to see that they don't run through rocks like the current animals do. So presumably when this is finished, we will no longer have bears and stuff running through rocks. Now with that said, I would totally be down if they added zombies to the game or some sort of like more intense PvE aspects. Like, nothing wrong with that, Gary, like please consider. It also looks like the foliage system that is at the rad towns and stuff is pretty much done, like probably the next forced wipe. This is very exciting because it'll make stuff look really clean. Next up, you may remember the heavy plate armor, probably wondering where that is. It sounds like they were having some difficulties with like the world model and it was like clipping with some clothing. Not totally sure. Anyways, it looks like they're almost done. Hopefully we can see that next week. I believe that's what they're saying. And that's pretty much everything for this week's Rust update. The devs are definitely on a roll here. Every week we've got at least something that's kind of interesting, which is definitely nice to see. Anyways, this was recorded on my modded Rust server. It's a 2x gather server. If you're interested in joining, there's info on how to do so in the description. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, that helps a lot, guys. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. I'll have new update videos every week and a whole bunch of other Rust content. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.